Hi everyone, Doctora Yvette here. I wanted to hop on here and share a quick message before you get to check out a replay. You're going to be listening to some top episodes this week and next week, and I thought I'd share some context on why I decided to offer these replays for you. So, as you all know, I have a lot of different services that I offer, and I'm really grateful that for the month of September, I have several things coming up. I have several speaking engagements. I am also fully booked with one on one clients, both for consulting and for coaching. And on the personal side, September is my birthday month. It's also my partner's birthday in September. So there's just been a lot going on in September. I know that we all need to take a break every now and then. And so this is my way to take a break from the podcast. I was overly ambitious and I did have other episode topics that I wanted to cover this month, but I'm going to have to put those on hold for now. And either way, please enjoy the episodes. Please give me a birthday gift by leaving a comment, leaving a review, leaving a rating. That's always appreciated. And if you are interested in working with me, I don't want you to think that I'm fully booked and then you can't work with me. I do have spots available for my group coaching program. I have small group coaching pods. These are groups of 2 to 6 grad students and professionals. And you get very similar level of support as the one-on-one support, except that you get the added benefit of the community. So if you are interested in a space where you can get structure, accountability, new learnings, you can ask questions, you can get some coaching, some consulting too, to be frank, then please reach out. I'll send you my wait list. And as soon as I have enough folks for another pod, I will add you to a coaching pod. I've personally benefited from similar types of programs, and I know just how valuable it is to do very important work in communities. So please reach out if you want more info about that. But if not, just enjoy the episode. I'll talk to you all later. Please listen to this episode if you are someone who finds yourself struggling with securing and maintaining mentors. I have been there to some extent. I'm still there, but I'm doing a better job at it. I understand that it can be hard to find mentors, especially if you are in higher ed or other industries where there are fewer and fewer of people that look and sound like you. I also understand that maybe you might have certain traits or characteristics that make it even harder for you to put yourself out there. But I want to share some tips. I want to share some insights. I want to share some reframes that can potentially helping you with sorting out the situation so that you can get the help that you need and deserve. Welcome to the award-winning Grad School Femtoring Podcast, the place for first-gen BIPOCs to listen in on inclusive grad school stories and learn about personal development and productivity tips. This is Doctora Yvette Martinez Vu, a certified coach, consultant, and author, and I will be serving as your Femtor, providing you with insider knowledge to help you reach your personal and professional goals. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Grad School Femtoring Podcast. This is your host, Doctora Yvette. Today, I have a short and sweet solo episode all about securing and maintaining mentors. Yes, it's come up in conversation a lot. I feel like I sound like a broken record because I've been talking about this a lot with some of my clients. And based on the conversations I've been having behind closed doors, I thought I'd share a short episode with some tips, some things that have come up that I feel like, oh, I wish that my listeners knew about this. Some of these things I shared today might be things you've heard me say in the past in different scenarios, but this episode is really about bringing it all together to help you to get the support you need. So let's get into this conversation about understanding mentoring relationships, and then from there, strategies for securing mentors, and then, of course, strategies for maintaining these relationships as well. So, starting out with the mentor mentee relationship, one thing that I want to mention as someone who may be looking to secure more mentors is that the mentee role is very important, and that sometimes we are not taught or we lose sight of the importance of that role. Your mentor, believe it or not, is gaining just as much from you as you are from them. That's right. I'm going to say it again. Your mentor is gaining just as much from you as you are from them. So that's one thing I want you to remind yourself. I also want to acknowledge that if you are first gen, if you are BIPOC, if you are non-trad, if you are a member of the global majority, if you are underrepresented in your field, if you have an identity at multiple sites of oppression, it is understandably harder to find mentors that look and sound like you. That doesn't mean that it's impossible. That also doesn't mean that you can't find mentors who maybe aren't exactly within the roles and identities that you have that can still fit some of your needs. So I want to acknowledge the challenge, and I also want to hopefully help you see things from a more hopeful approach, in that even if there are fewer and fewer people like you as you move up in your career, you can still find and secure mentors. All right. So, keeping this in mind, how important it is to be a mentee, and also that you got to acknowledge that it is understandably going to be a little bit more challenging for you to find mentors than other folks who don't have the same identities that you do. What can you do? The first thing that comes to mind is actually not even my words or my advice. It's the advice that one of my mentees shared with me. This mentee is now a postdoc, is now a doctor. His name is Dr. Jamal Muwakil. I've had him on the show before. I remember asking him, Jamal, this was back when he was an undergrad and I was a grad student. I was his mentor. You know everybody and their mama. How is it that you've built and developed these relationships? I remember as an undergrad, he knew people of all roles at the university. He knew more people than I did at that campus. And I had been on that campus a lot longer than he had. He was a transfer student. And yes, shout out Jamal. I'm clearly still learning from you. He told me, you know what I do? I take people at their word. Oh my gosh, thank you for those words, because I have not forgotten it since then. I take people at their word. What he meant was that if someone says, yes, I'd be happy to mentor you. Yes, I'd be happy to have a coffee chat with you. Yes, I'd be happy to stay in touch. Take them at their word. Please take that as truth and use it. Use it to take initiative. Use it to follow up. Use it to reach out. Just take them at their word. Take it literally for what they said. Unless they said otherwise, if they're opening up the door to you, then go ahead and enter, accept that whatever it is that they're offering. So that's the first thing. Tied to that, I want to mention something that is something that I've noticed for me as I have continued to advance in my career, is that because I have been mentoring folks for 14, 15 years now, in this time, I have mentored dozens, if not hundreds of people. Really. I mean, it's been a lot of folks who have crossed paths with me, who have been my mentees. And it's amazing. It's beautiful. I am so incredibly honored and privileged that I get to witness people advance in their higher ed journey and in their career. So I love that. But at the same time, that makes it really challenging for me to check in with folks. I don't have a roster of dozens and dozens of people that I get to call mentees or femtees. And so instead, guess who are the folks that have continued to stay in touch with me? The folks that have taken the initiative to follow up with me. It's not me following up with them, it's them following up with me. That means there might be folks who have wanted to follow up who have not because they didn't take the initiative, because for many, many reasons, maybe they didn't want to reach out. And I just want to remind you that if someone has served in some sort of mentoring role for you, please reach out to them. And guess what? I can't help but also acknowledge sometimes there are gender based dynamics, and sometimes it's also related to you being very like mindful and considerate. I've noticed this for myself. I speak about myself that I struggle to reach out to people because I have to fight against this thought and reframe this thought that I have that I am bugging people. Yes, even to this day, the thought still comes up. And then I remind myself, hold up, hold up. There is so much that I can offer to someone, even if they are ahead of me and they have a lot to teach me. There's also stuff that I can teach them. There's also stuff that I can offer them. So I have to remind myself that. The other thing that has come up is, and this is something that came up in a conversation with the client recently, is that this client said that they sometimes didn't reach out to their mentors because they didn't want to bother them. They knew how busy they were. They knew that this person got way too many service commitments and they didn't want to add to that burden. And so, what I want to say about that is that they have agency over determining how they spend their time. If they're at capacity, they have to determine that for themselves and they can choose to tell you, you know what, I'm not available now, but can we meet later? And I do that actually. I have limited capacity. Some folks reach out to me and they're like, I'd love to catch up. They want to catch up with me next week, but I'm sorry, you're going to have to wait a month. And you know what? The folks that know me and that care about the relationship that we have, they're willing to wait. They're willing to book that meeting 1, 2 months in advance. I do the same thing for others. If I want to touch base with someone and it's important for me to touch base with them, if I have to wait, I will wait. And I will honor and respect whatever their rules and boundaries are around when and how they meet with their mentees. So just keep that in mind. If folks are overextended, if you're being really conscientious, let them be the ones to decide yes or no to mentoring you, yes or no to helping you. Now, another thing that's coming to mind right now that I want to mention is something that I learned from Dr. Raymond Goings. He's going to be on the podcast later this year. He is a really great person. I had so much fun talking to him. He's a professor at University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and he's also a business owner. He's got his own consulting business. And when I talked to him about mentoring, I asked him, you'll hear about it in the episode when it comes out. I asked him to expand more on how to ask for help and how to seek mentorship. And what he said was, you've got to shoot your shot. You know, he was coming from having formerly been in the music industry, knowing that it's important to put yourself out there and shoot your shot. If you don't do that, then you might miss it. So in this case, I really appreciate him saying that because a lot of times we don't shoot our shot. We don't get out of our shell. We don't put ourselves out there. And that means we not only miss out on opportunities, because this is beyond just anything that's transactional, but we miss out on nurturing some pretty incredible relationships. And to me, for me personally, that's ultimately the most important part about mentorship and femtorship is that the strength in that relationship building, how beautiful it is. That brings to mind the next thing I want to say, which is all about reaching out to people when they come to mind. Now, this is something that I learned from my own mentor, Cynthia Pong. Shout out to Cynthia. I've learned so much from you. That's why I'm still part of her network. That's why I always show up and support her in her work. She's an incredible business and career coach. So if you want to learn more about her work, please do. She has an amazing book also called Don't Stay in Your Lane, related to career advice for women of color. So please check it out. But from Cynthia, if you don't know Cynthia, Cynthia is someone who has built this incredibly powerful, large network of women of color. And she is magnetic when it comes to attracting really amazing people. I am not kidding when I say this, that every single person that I've connected thanks to Cynthia, because she has this huge network, and I'm speaking like 200K people in her LinkedIn alone. That's just LinkedIn. But within her network, I've met easily, I don't know, a couple dozen people. And of those, maybe 5 to 10 that I've grown close to. And it's because of her ability to bring people together, curate spaces of people of color that are values aligned. And what she told me was that it's important to take time to check in with people, especially people you haven't touched base with in a while. And in fact, sometimes she'll ask me to do this, of reaching out to people that I haven't talked to in the last month, and to check in for nothing more than to honor that relationship. Hey, I've been thinking about you. Hey, I saw this and it made me think of you. Or it's been a while since we last chatted. I'd love to catch up. And that turns into me checking in with a friend who I hadn't talked to in a while and realizing, oh my gosh, she's going through such a tough time and I want to be there for them. That connection, reaching out, can lead to a friend then coming up with this new opportunity and thinking of me and including me and inviting me to this opportunity. Me touching base with someone can mean, you know, them holding space for me when I'm really struggling. So it's beyond, again, beyond the transactional, it's intentional and it is reciprocal. So thank you to Cynthia for reminding me to intentionally make time to check in with people who are part of my greater network, because that is how we support one another. And now I guess I want to say a little bit more about that reciprocity. One person recently also told me that they hate the word networking and that it triggers them, and that to them, the first thing that comes to mind is just transactional relationships and that they don't like transactional relationships. I completely understand. I get it. Been there, done that. I have struggled to network precisely because of that reason. I don't do transactional relationships. When I sense anything that's solely transactional, I immediately just set a boundary or distance myself because I'm like, this doesn't feel good for me. It feels like they're just trying to take, and I'm not getting much in return. It doesn't feel like they care about me as a human. So, no, this is not about transactional relationships. This is about a give and take. And yes, even if it means you've got a mentor and checking in on them, how are you doing? Every now and then, remembering and honoring their humanity. And oh my gosh, I didn't expect this to happen. I'm reminded of this as I think about, I recently heard news that someone really close to me passed away. And I'll say this, I don't want to share too much, but this person was my therapist. And we took a break from therapy because it felt like the right thing to do given both of our circumstances. And I remember that that was something that she had said to other folks, or to myself or to others that checked in on her to be like, I know that you're dealing with this illness. How are you doing? Like, how are you really doing? And just to take a second, take a couple minutes if you're having a meeting with a mentor to honor their humanity, to check in with them as well. That can take you a long way as well. Even if you feel like there's nothing I can offer to my mentor, they know so much. How can I even offer them anything? You can honor their humanity at the very least. Do that. So, reciprocity is important, intentionality is important. And also remember that no one person can meet all of your needs. We need multiple mentors. I have multiple mentors. I have got Cynthia. I have got Meadows, my co-author. I have got some other peers who are my peer mentors. We're kind of supporting each other along the way. I also have people that I view as mentors that serve this role model position where they're not even someone that I actually have a relationship with. They're folks that I listen to their podcasts or I follow them in some way, shape, or form. I love what they're doing. I'm cheerleading them from far away. And I learn so much from them that I see them as mentors. And so just keep that in mind. And here I want to actually shout out another one of my mentees. And I know I'm shouting out a lot of people, but that's because this episode is about relationships. And so I want to shout out one of my other mentees. His name is Bryant, and he knows who he is. He listens to the podcast. So we recently checked in, and he introduced to me this tool called a mentor map. And he had filled it out for himself, mentioned it in conversation. And I was like, oh, can you tell me more about this mentorship map? And It's it looks like a thought bubble or some sort of mind map, and in the middle is just mentorship, and then branching out from the middle are different types of roles. So, for example, let me give you the different types of roles that a mentor can fill or different types of needs. In this version, there's folks who serve as role models, folks that serve as offering a safe space for you, folks that can offer you substantive feedback, folks who can provide emotional support, folks who are part of your intellectual community, and folks who can offer insights related to professional development. These are 6 areas. You can create your own mentor map. It doesn't have to be solely these areas. Maybe there are other areas that are meaningful and important to you. Like for me, I would probably add personal development as an area in addition to professional development because that's very important to me as well. And you might have one person who fits multiple categories, and you might have a category that has no one. And that is a signal to you. How can I fill this gap? And that's a reminder like you can figure out what are your needs, who can help to fill those needs because no one person is going to meet all of your needs. And then from there, take action. Like I said, take initiative, reach out to people, take them at their word, shoot your shot, and follow up because the follow up is just as important. That's how you nurture it. So, speaking of, strategies for maintaining and nurturing these relationships, making sure that you're regularly checking in, whether it's checking in when they come to mind, sending them a quick email or text message if you have their number. It means making sure that you're offering things in return, that reciprocity piece, making sure also that you don't let any gender roles negatively impact your willingness to follow up. And by this, I mean, again, maybe you're thinking, oh, I'm bothering them. Or maybe you're thinking, oh, I don't want to overburden them. They're so busy. Or why would they want to talk to me? No. They they get just as much from you as you get from them. So I get you're being conscientious. I get you're being thoughtful. I get that you don't want to bother anyone. You don't want to be a burden. I get that, but trust me that you are not that. Especially if you're listening to this podcast, especially if you resonate with what I say, especially if you're already being considerate. No, you're not. You're not going to do that. You're not going to burden them. You're not going to bother them. And if you are, give them the chance to communicate that to you. Give them the chance to say no to you. Don't be the one to say no to yourself and your needs. And yeah, that's tied to finding ways to overcome that self-doubt that sometimes comes up that gets in the way of us reaching out. So figure out what are the roots for you of the fears behind why you're not reaching out, and reassure yourself. Listen to this podcast again if you need to. Talk to a good friend. Talk to someone who cheers you on. I have another mentor. Her name is Doris. I love her to death. I can't wait to have her on the podcast. I've been wanting to have her on the podcast forever. She's this brilliant artist, activist, scholar. She's just incredible. And when I see her almost like I try not to put people on pedestals. Trust me, I know not to do that. But I admire her so much. And I try to remind her, like, Doris, I wish that you could see yourself the way that I see you. You are so fierce. You are so strong. You are so powerful. And I admire and look up to you. And it's funny because the feeling is mutual between the two of us. Because she mirrors a lot of that back to me, which I also appreciate. But in this case, it's maybe you might need to talk to someone who reassures you, someone who cheers you on, someone who gives you that pep talk that can then get you in that mindset or in that feeling or in that mental space that allows you to follow up if you need that extra support to follow up. In any case, I hope that any of these things that I said are helpful to you. I hope that, like Jamal said, take people at their word, that you take initiative. And remember, some of us have a lot of mentees and we can't be checking in on you. You can't be waiting on your mentors to check in on you. You need to check in on them. You need to be the ones to, again, take initiative. Make sure that every time people come up, if you have a minute or two, you let them know you're thinking of them. As Cynthia reminded me, make sure you shoot your shot. Like Raymond mentioned, you're going to hear from him sorry, I don't know why I said Raymond. It's Ramon. Ramon, my bad. And it's funny because I asked him, how does he go? How does he pronounce his name? And he was like, it's Ramon. And I was like, oh yeah, like Ramon. So in any case, my apologies. Yeah, shoot your shot. Like Dr. Ramon said so, because it's true. We need to put ourselves out there. If we don't do it, we might never know. So shoot your shot. Follow up. Please, please, please follow up. If it takes you creating a mentor map to see where the gaps are, or to remind yourself who your mentors are and to remind yourself who to follow up with, do that. But please, please get the help you need, get the support you need, because you deserve it. That's it for today. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. And as always, I'll talk to you all next time. Bye. Thanks so much for listening. If you liked what you heard, here are 3 ways you can support the show. The first is to make sure you're subscribed and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. The second way is to get your copy of my free resource kit linked in my show notes. This kit includes tools, worksheets, and podcast playlists on all things grad school, productivity, and personal development. The third way to support my show is to follow me on social media. You can find me on Instagram with the handle @Grad School Femtoring and on LinkedIn by searching my name. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.